Welcome to the Belligerent Beavs episode 202 and Heartbreaks, as it was coined at the buzzer before the red button turned on. We are here, all three of us, with you again, once again. Beaver Nation, what up? This is me, Terry Horseman. I'm wearing the jersey of the West Coast Conference Defensive Player of the Year, Kennedy Schuler. Holler back, give her flowers.
Yeah.
You've got JP Bertram in the middle spot in the around the horn rectangles on my Riverside FM, wearing a very fresh looking Belligerent Beavs ChopEm crew neck, which you can get probably still at belligerentbeavs.com, belligerentbeavs.com/merch.
You can.
And Benjamin Lawrence Sebastian Weehage, a.k.a. Benny with the good cough, a.k.a. Benny in the most alphabetically confusing Jordan shirt. It's the Jordan
J Orda N.
It looks like Jordan Brand collabed with OAR from back in the day in 2005.
We are going to rehash it.
Christian
and POD,
alt rock, and
POD, Kid Rock.
I think POD was.
I'm still looking at pictures of Fred Durst on my browser.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Got Fred Durst on the browser. This is yeah. We'll never stop
Hey,
celebrating Woodstock.
You know where I got it? I got this shirt was that Whatnot app that I was telling you guys about. I don't know if I brought it up on the pod.
Yeah,
but
yes, you did.
Yeah. I won the bid.
You won.
Yeah,
the most confusing shirt in the world.
Yeah,
but it's hair.
J and Orda.
If I go like this.
Oh, so it has the chest letters go
You gotta
on the
flex
sleeve
a lot for that too.
Yeah,
You gotta flex.
well, then it really.
Do you guys remember Shorty's skateboards?
Like heck, yeah.
Shorty's, the skateboard brand, they had a shirt.
Yeah, of course, dude.
Like
CCS catalog was like my
the CCS catalog. I love the CCS catalog.
That was the only book I ever really read in middle school.
That in the East Bay catalog?
Yeah. Dude, East Bay, huge part of my upbringing was East
How
Bay.
many, dude, the amount of shoes I circled.
Yeah.
Clean
that was
shoes.
Christmas growing up was just circling shit in East Bay and be like, here, Mom. And
yeah. I need all of this.
That looks so
yesterday.
sick.
Yeah. You know, they had a really sad skate section for a little bit in East Bay, and it was like, I'm waiting for my CCS catalog, man. When that little thing shows up in the mailbox, that dense little catalog,
because it was like
you guys rocked.
It was the shape of a book.
Airwalks?
Airwalks, hell yeah, Airwalks.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever had a pair of Airwalks, but I remember other
dude,
kids
the A
having
with
them.
a little circle. Oh.
Yeah. Made your feet look humongous.
Airwalks were like the original skate shoe, right? Like kind of the first.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, first one like that.
Them and Vans. Yeah, Vans probably was the original one. But
yeah. Airwalks is more like they definitely marketed to kids a lot.
Yeah, I think
they were not
everyone in
comfortable.
my class had Airwalks.
Yeah, they were not comfortable. LA gear, LA lights. That's what I was rocking.
Airwalks.
Right.
Not with
I
the
don't
laces
think I ever
on.
had LA gear. I think I missed that. I mean, kids in my class definitely had LA gear, and I was jealous of those heels lighting up.
Yeah, stomp. And they'd be doing it in class under your desk. You could just see it blinking.
Did you guys ever hear this story of the guy who was being chased by the cops that was wearing LA lights? It could have been an urban legend.
That's amazing, though.
But you can imagine how it went.
Yeah. Probably not great.
Not great for him.
Unless he runs into a warehouse and with his lights flashing, and the cops chase him, and they're like, all right, obviously it's luck for the lights. But unbeknownst to the cops, in that warehouse are 1,000 other individuals also wearing LA lights.
Yeah.
And now the lights are just blinking everywhere.
At a rave.
That is a rendition of
or just
Too
running
Fast,
on
Too
top
Furious,
of cop cars.
Starring Ludacris.
Luda.
Great shoes, though. Great shoes.
Yeah, great shoes. Those were comfortable. Good ankle support. Really good ankle support.
Did any of us skate? JP, did you skate at all?
A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. Etnies, dude, I was everywhere with the skate
Spitfire.
gear.
I was not even hiding it at all, or like ashamed of it. I was just a poser. I never had a skateboard, but like I dug the culture and the clothes were cool and all the kids who did skateboard were so cool. So I was like, I'm just gonna wear this, Etnies hoodie and stand next to you guys. If that's all right. Yeah.
I will say I knew how to loosen up the trucks and get a good carve on the board, but the bottom of my board was pristine. It was not grinding on anything.
Wherever that board is, it's still crystal clear.
Yeah.
I played a lot of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1, 2, and 3. I was always Kareem Campbell, obviously.
Dude, 2 was just epic. That was such a
Tony
good
Hawk Pro
game.
Skater 2 was an incredible game.
Yeah, you can get it now on Switch and PlayStation, everything else.
Yeah, I got it on Switch.
Remastered is so fun.
Oh, the only skateboard I've ever owned was the one that you gave me, Terry, the commemorative Portland Timbers skateboard.
Did you ever put trucks and wheels on it?
Did not put trucks and wheels on it.
It's just it's a cool deck though.
It is a cool deck.
From the inaugural.
No, Ben skates around nowhere on it all the time. He just stands on it.
Well, is the one that I gave you the one that was signed by all the players from that season?
No, or did you have one that was signed?
What? You didn't give it to Benny? What is wrong with you?
You gave me a blank one.
It's not blank. It still has the image on it. That's cool. But cool. I think in my parents' garage somewhere is the skateboard deck from the 2011 inaugural season, signed by every member of the 2011 Portland Timbers, who
Kenny
definitely
Cooper and Jorge
Perlaza. Kenny Cooper or Jorge Perlaza. I don't know if it was before or after they signed Diego Chara, who is still on the team.
Is he still on the team?
Yeah, he's played he's up there with most games in MLS history. Speaking of which, I think I've convinced super secret producer Skinder to come out to Minneapolis on April 18th when the Timbers play the Loons. So if you guys, Benny, we won't get too much into it, but it might be the last weekend you have free for a while. So if you guys are feeling a spring dudes weekend, we can talk about that more off air.
I'll be in Vegas.
Not for no MLS.
Well, you don't have to come, JP.
You can lost both of us already.
All right, fine. 202 of the Belligerent Bees. We're halfway to a 404 not found podcast.
Yeah. Have you seen our 404 page lately?
So many people wish our podcast was not found. I haven't seen our 404 page. I know it was brought up that some of the links in the incredibly curated Barnes files, which I'm sure we'll talk about later. Shout out to JP Bertram. We did work on that. I know a couple of those were coming up 404, but that issue has since been fixed. But do we have a
GitHub issue?
Do we have a fun 404 page on our site now?
Yeah, type belligerentbeefs.com/404. I mean, it's the same one that's been there for years, but it's a good little Easter egg.
belligerentbeefs.com/404.
I didn't even know that.
Oh, I have seen this. This is perfectly done, Jeff. Where do you think you're going? We might owe Lyle Moivau royalties for every time someone ends up on our 404. Spoiler alert.
Oh, that was a great block. I was at that game. That was Dad's weekend.
Yes.
I think we all were.
Yeah,
it was in the middle of our
officiating.
That was the most
poorly bad officiating.
We won that game, and everyone booed afterwards. That game against Washington in 07.
I was walking around Reeser and happened to be right in front of the Husky fan section when that block happened.
You just happened to be.
You
weren't pursuing it.
You were trying to hang out with Smabes.
Man, I know.
Smabes was at that game.
Was he?
Yeah,
that's right.
He was. A bunch of
I think
our
I met him.
Our UW buddies were at that game.
But I met him like screw you, UW.
Yeah.
Hey, this is immediate introducing friends, like mixing friends immediately after a college football game who are choosing or cheering for opposing teams. Not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Good job, Terry.
Anyone starting college this fall, that's a hard one to do. They'll get over it at some point, but like, hey, man, this is my really good friend from here. This is my really good friend from home. I want you guys to be buddies. We just watched a really emotional, controversial game that we're all mad about. So yeah, no, I'm not gonna be friends with this guy, dude. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
it's
JP
fine.
is the worst person to do that to.
Yeah.
But we won that.
We did win that game.
Baba Ganoush isn't great either. But yeah, that was Jake Locker got hurt in that game. It was like cold and rainy, and every call was bad. I think it's the most mad I ever saw Riley after a game too. And it was a win. It was a fucking win. Wild.
I've never seen Riley mad.
Oh, he was livid after that one.
How mad do you think Wayne Tinkle really was inside when he was chatting with John Canzano?
Oh, that's a pretty great segue into the main story of the night. Wayne Tinkle officially out as the head coach of Oregon State, but not quite yet, because he's going to coach the West Coast Conference tournament. So, of course, when something like this happens, the only rational thing to take place afterwards is running the fucking table, baby.
Yeah.
Where's the Final Four this year? Doesn't matter. Oregon State men's basketball is coming.
So I have a question for you guys. In JP, you had mentioned this before we started, but in Canzano's article, he had mentioned that he did something about Barnes not wanting Tinkle to catch lightning in a bottle, which is, I don't know if that's part of the reason why he fired him or just Canzano's assumption, but wouldn't it be a far dumber look if Tinkle did catch lightning in a bottle after he was fired? Because then you're sort of at a I mean, like, I don't think anyone really wants him to stick around regardless, but if he made it to the Elite Eight again.
Well, I think that's the gamble that Scott Barnes was willing to take when he decided, well, I think there's a lot of factors that went into his decision to fire him with one game left in the regular season. And a mere week or two after saying that he will discuss everything, they would discuss everything at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. After the season.
Right.
Wow. Wait, Scott Barnes said something that he didn't hold himself accountable to upholding.
That overtime win really changed things. Again,
did you see the video? I sent you the video, didn't I?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Let's explain. Okay. Yeah. So there's a video of who hit the three. Was it JoJo? Somebody? I don't know.
It was Josiah Lake or Isaiah C. I think it was Josiah Lake.
It was, okay. Anyways, but the three essentially gives us life at the end of the game. Yeah. The crowd goes nuts. The bench goes nuts. And right behind the bench.
Yeah, I saw that.
Scott Barnes. And what is his...
He looks like
instinctively emotional response?
He looks like the guy who just heard the announcement that his flight was delayed for the 4th time.
Yes, that is true.
Instead of an athletic director watching one of his student athletes hit a huge shot to keep the team alive.
Yeah.
Maybe he got bad news from whoever he was texting during the Shepherd intro.
Man, my attorney is telling me that the lawsuit was filed against me by the men's crew coach. Yeah. and they've got plenty of evidence.
It was Coach K saying, hey, I'll come, but only if you lose this game right now, and I'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that wasn't a great look. And then immediately, or in the hours after that win, it gets announced that Barnes and the program are moving on from Tinkle, with Tinkle being given the option to coach out the rest of the season. That being, there is one more game against Santa Clara and the upcoming West Coast Conference tournament and whatever might
and beyond
come after, which we played in the inaugural college basketball crown tournament last year. And I don't think we knew about that until we found out we were playing in it. So who knows how many postseason tournaments there are now. It's not just March Madness, folks. So there's a chance.
It's all March Madness.
Technically,
it's with the tournaments.
It's happening in March, but as it stands right now, the Wayne Tinkle era ends with a regular season of 16-15, 9-9 in conference, finishing 4th in the West Coast Conference. Which does give them the vaunted double bye in the West Coast Conference. Incredible,
correct,
tournament format. So
winning that game against Santa Clara would have helped them control their own destiny, but I believe, was it USF lost earlier?
Yeah.
So they already had secured it.
So that game didn't really matter.
Sunday, March 8th is when that game will take place.
Nice.
For men's basketball.
So I will miss the West Coast Conference Tournament. It's the most diabolical.
It is fun.
Somewhat confusing, but awesome tournament.
It's incredibly confusing, but that's part of its charm. Also, Oregon State women's basketball got had this same finish, but I think the fan base is remarkably happier with it. They were much better, 13-5 in conference, 21-10 overall, but also with a game on Sunday, March 8th, that game being at 11:30 Pacific time. The men's game will be at 5:30 Pacific time. Could be the last time we see Tinkle on the sidelines for Oregon State Beavers men's basketball, but we'll see. And the reactions to this, wide and ranging, a mixture of it's the right time.
Well,
the program needs to move on.
I don't know if we get that.
But,
not right timing.
Right time in terms of Tinkle needs to be gone, but not one.
But of course, of course, this had to be made as sloppy as possible. Welcome to Oregon State, baby.
Welcome to Oregon State Athletics. Under Scott Barnes.
Where I don't even know how I would. I'm going to be careful here because I don't know exactly how I want the program to move forward or how I for sure would have wanted them to deliver this. But I mentioned in our group chat a little bit when we were talking about potential candidates, which we might get into a little bit here, but maybe we'll save some of that for a future episode because I don't think this hire will be made quickly.
Well, he wants it to be.
If I'm a candidate, if I'm a men's basketball coaching candidate, I'm not touching this program with a 100-foot pole.
Not even 100 feet.
If I'm at junior college, if I'm in Division III, it's if Oregon State's calling someone else.
I'm a high school coach. I ain't even going the thing. No.
Hey, one of the candidates that was mentioned in an Oregon Live article, coach at Tacoma Community College. So shout out to him.
Stay in Tacoma with Benny.
Yeah.
Fucking
for now.
Yeah. Like Portland State is probably calling in another 18 months, and they were good as hell this year.
Yeah,
I gotta say the fact that the firing took place with the game left in the regular season, as alluded to by many others, does feel like a bit of a smokescreen for what we'll probably get to in a little bit in the episode, and a lot of these records becoming public on belligerentbeefs.com. I mean, I saw people who wanted Tinkle fired. They were adamant that this should be the end before it became official. But they also were like, really? Like, now you throw away the rest of the season for that? Like, why exactly was that timing ideal? And we're yet to really hear a good explanation. I think there was some explanation around like, it was already discussed and whatever. But I do have it on. I think it was also alluded to that it was on the calendar. Was it Canzano who put out that it was already on the calendar for Barnes and Tinkle to meet last Thursday.
Right.
Thursday. And that meeting may have already been somewhat known that that was going to be it, no matter what. No matter the outcome of any game, that was going to be it. So maybe it wasn't a late adjustment. Maybe it was. Maybe that was a standing meeting. I don't know. Either way, the part that I think is a bit infuriating is, from everything I've gathered, the players weren't aware that this could be coming.
No, and the players are fucking pissed and have a right.
They are pissed. They are pissed. And you want to know why? You want to know why they're even more pissed? This isn't from a player source, but this is from sources. Wayne went into the room to tell them, yeah, it's true. I've been fired. I'm still weighing out if I want to finish the season, whatever. Scott Barnes was there
in the room,
in the room. And of course, he had to take the moment to have give himself the opportunity to talk and address the team. And do you want to know what is reportedly been said?
I'm
by Scott Barnes to the players. Go out there and finish the season playing for yourself. so you could do what's best for you.
My God.
AKA, from the information I've gathered, every player feels like we're being pushed out. He told us, go showcase for the portal. Like, I get that's the reality of changing the regime and having a new coach come in is the likelihood of a roster of the size of a basketball program is very, very unlikely to stay through that transition for one reason or another. But to proactively promote to those players, like, at this point, it's about you. So go play for you. Because we don't really care what you do. You're not here. That's the vibe that the players got. And then they had to go out and play a game.
Just got
2 days later.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
like some of the most inappropriate locker room behavior that has taken place in sports this month, which includes Kash Patel chugging a beer after the USA men's hockey team won gold for some fucking reason. Like you said, JP, that's obvious. Why does he need to be there? Why even say that? All the players know that.
Yeah, he has to just interject into everything.
Oh my goodness.
It just rubs salt on the wound with Wayne Tinkle. Like, Wayne Tinkle is such a interesting sort of dynamic with Oregon State because he did take us to the Elite Eight. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone has a ton of respect for him. Most people want him gone. But, like, I don't think that fans are going to have that from Scott Barnes. I mean, that's such a step over the line. I think almost anyone would agree with that.
Especially if
it's disrespectful to, like, college kids who are trying to commit to the school and finish the season. It shows the dichotomy of the relationship of what the athletic department feels for the men's basketball program and what they expect out of those who are participating within the men's basketball program, and why there is such a huge fucking problem at Oregon State when it comes to sustaining anything that's close to resembling a winner within the men's basketball program.
Yeah. Scott Barnes is like a boss who gives you a shitty old computer with Windows 95 and is bitching about why you can't get work done. Right? Like that's what Scott Barnes is.
Why don't you have Slack these guys installed?
Yeah. I was supposed to say Windows 95 catching strays on this episode.
Yeah.
Well, also, it's
deservedly. That was a good OS.
Being in the locker room in the first place is in like direct contrast to giving Tinkle the option.
Well, it
was
a team meeting, but yes,
sure. So, but
Tinkle had not accepted it yet either.
Tinkle hadn't accepted it yet, but until he does, I think that actually makes it worse. Where like you're the athletic director, you're the bureaucracy, you're the office. You are not part of the brotherhood and the camaraderie that takes place in that room. You have nothing to say to the guys in that room, especially if the head coach hasn't made up his mind. You being there is a distraction in only unhelpful ways. If you want to say something after Tinkle makes his decision, whether it's to coach out the rest of the season or to step aside, then, that's whatever. And I know Barnes took some heat. He was on video when he went into the meeting room for the football team announcing the Trent Bray hire, and then Bray came out and like all the guys were excited. That was fine. I think that's a completely different thing. And it's your decision to make that hire or not. I think that part of it makes sense. If you stick around and you try to be like, hey, I'm one of the guys too, then it's like, fuck off, get out of there. But these sources that have indicated, and it's more than one person who hasn't said, I don't want to say we like know everything, but just that like the discomfort that his presence brought to a team already in an uncertain thing, like you in a leadership position have to understand when you are helping or hurting. And there's no way your presence helps that situation. Let the man coach and go be with his team. And if you are really giving him the choice to either leave now or coach out the rest of the season, whichever you feel is more dignified or to whatever upstanding is to you as a person, then you go do that. Like, don't be in the next team meeting that happens after that conversation. Yeah. Even I'm hard pressed to even find this. Like, even I'm trying to look at this.
Oh, I can find it. What if Tinkle told him, you come in here and talk to them then? You own it.
Sure. Then
good for him.
Because I could see Wayne doing that.
You explain it.
The problem with Barnes is
and then you would have to say something
and
way better than go play for you.
Right. Well, but Barnes is becoming where you say as a leader, you have to understand when you're being helpful or harmful. Like the thing with Barnes is he's become so tarnished and has made wrong moves at every step that he is hurting basically any situation he's in. Right?
Yes.
Like he has caused the entire athletic department to be in absolute turmoil. I don't think the coaches trust him. I don't think his staff trust him.
They do.
Like he that has to be at the top of President Murphy's list of figuring out a way to get rid of Scott Barnes. This athletic department is going to fail on every single level until Scott Barnes is gone.
Amen.
Yes. We're going to talk more about that. I think we should at least shift the next few minutes of the conversation towards big picture, looking back on Tinkle. I think that's only fair to him because you kind of mentioned, Benny, the element that I want to get back at, that like he brought us to an Elite Eight, but a lot of people do want him gone. And I do think ultimately his time at Oregon State will be looked at as something of an enigma. I stand by what I said several episodes ago, that if at the very end of the Robinson era, had you just had some like, hey, you get the genie in the bottle hypothetical presents to you on paper, this is what this next coach would do, and you see one Elite Eight run in it, every single Beaver fan is saying yes.
No matter you'd be blind to everything else. You'd be blind to any other metrics that were presented to you.
And even with the other metrics too, it's like, yes, it had been at that point 20-something years.
But I said you'd glaze over them. You'd see Elite Eight, you go, oh, done.
Right. And
done.
That's fair.
And it was only within a couple seasons too that we were back in the NCAA tournament. What is interesting, I think Tinkle, just like from like, a basketball nerdery standpoint, I think looking over his whole coaching tenure at Oregon State would end up being fairly fascinating because his two best seasons were both followed with his two worst seasons, with bringing us back to the tournament in 2016 and then going 5-27 the next year. Elite Eight run in 2021, 3-28 the next year. There aren't many coaches at this level that are capable of fielding teams that are capable of both of those things. So it's actually like, I think if you are an aspiring coach, or like if you're a video coordinator, like someone who just, grinds tape and goes through this, like I actually think this is maybe one of the most fascinating coaching legacies from an X's and O's results standpoint, because I also, as someone who loves basketball, I don't know why the variance was so crazy. And that was something that like the frustration was hard too, but ultimately.
Well, the Elite Eight variance could be maybe explained because that's what I'm trying to say is like, that was the COVID year with limited crowds on the run. I wouldn't say that it played to our advantage, but it made it different. It made everything different. But then also it made the brand new, Wild West portal very different. We were a name again, that was intriguing to people who had talent and maybe didn't have the opportunity to showcase it. We weren't people who were like overrated, like falling to us later, or like whatever else we were getting previously before that moment, right? Like in the portal or as a transfer student, or trying to make their way up from like overlooked, coming from JUCO and finally getting their break in Division I college basketball. But now all of a sudden it's like, hey, people are submitting their name in the portal with the intention of hoping that you're interested.
Yeah.
And yet we couldn't go scout them. We couldn't see what their last year looked like because they maybe opted out of playing, or they had maybe played in front of no crowds like we did. It was an entire question mark everywhere. And I'm not saying that he did his best and got as right as he could have. He totally got it wrong. But I would be curious to see how many coaches got that transfer portal season right. And for us, it was semi-critical, not just to add talent, but to get the right blend of personalities and buy-in and talent, which we've talked about. We talked about a lot, and we didn't have it at that point. And I think that is an interesting focal point of his career at Oregon State, because clearly the players were bought in. They believed they could go up against Cade Cunningham. They believed they could beat St. Mary's. There was no doubt that they were on the same playing field and could get it done game in and game out. And I even think that Houston game, they felt they should have won.
Yeah. They were good in that Houston game.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, but why did that happen then? And then why? I think those same situational things caused the next season. But
I think that when the next season rolls around and we have a new basketball coach, and maybe
Gary
to be
Payton?
fair, Gary Payton. Maybe to be fair, you give him 2 or 3 years to actually form a real judgment.
Better,
but you look back, and I think we're going to realize how good of a coach that Wayne Tinkle was, because before he came to Oregon State, he was really good at Montana. Mm-hmm. And he did a lot with a little in those tournament runs. And I think that, you look at it, the men's basketball program has gotten absolutely zero support. And with
did you see what Wayne said with Canzano?
Regarding what?
8th rev share number in the WC.
Oh my God. Dude.
8th.
That's the main point.
8th.
Right,
yeah. No coach is going to be able to be successful in a situation like that. Like, he was truly put in an impossible situation.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's too bad because, you have to win games. Like, you have to win games. And if you don't, it's on you.
We were 8th this year. Well, yeah, it's up to the support you get. That is the modern college athletics way. And he said, we're 8th in the WCC in rev share, or it was reported to be. And he said, well, whatever, we finished 4th in the conference. So I think there's a pretty good ROI. I'm like, yeah.
Right.
I agree. But also,
universe
don't patent. Yeah, but don't pat, your cheapskates on the back, by saying, hey, good job, you made a return on your investment. I honestly think with just a little bit more support.
Yeah.
Not just this year. It needs to be, a snowball effect, but it could have been a big, big different story these last 2 years in the WCC.
Yeah, it really could have been.
It should have been.
I do think it goes both ways, where this isn't a new conversation of if the program should move on from Tinkle. And my favorite response to that always was okay, what's the next move then? What's your solution? If we were ever at games or at bars talking with fans, or reading in the comment section, or just interacting on social media.
Never do that.
Yeah, fire Tinkle. Okay, who are you hiring? And then there's always get some hot young talent from a mid-major. We discussed. I don't think this position is appealing to hot young talent at a mid-major, whether they're a head coach or an assistant coach. I think they'd better be patient. But I do think there's a lot of instances.
Well, I have
where
some thoughts on that.
This team just turned into pumpkins on the road. When it seemed like a little bit of momentum was swinging the right way, and then there is always just a 30-point loss of a clunker waiting on the other side of that. The other shoe dropped with this team constantly. And that's why I think he's fairly enigmatic, because this always happened at times where it never seemed to make sense. But I also agree with the point that this program has never been supported adequately to win on the scale that the fan base wants or should expect. Having said that,
and remembers,
he is easily the best coach of this team since Ralph Miller, and that the bar that he's clearing there is literally on the ground, but still like that is what's part of this complicated legacy. And we've talked about the men in this now coming out of 5 full years that this podcast has been a thing, 30 years that we've all been fans and we've known each other for like 20 years at this point. And the fan bases have been having like, why can't we just figure out men's basketball? And I think if you have a athletic department that funds it with the 8th highest revenue in a mid-major conference, you're not going to go anywhere. And I think that was always a push-pull during the entire Tinkle era. And sometimes he was really impressive with what he got. I don't have the numbers in front of me of how it was funded every single year. There were some really special moments that I'll be eternally grateful for. Certain wins at Gill, he brought teams that packed Gill and brought an energy back that we didn't see in the years that we were in college or the years previous to us being in college. And I'll be grateful for those.
But they're worse than what we were in college now, crowds, I'm saying.
Currently.
Yeah.
Right.
Not to put blame on Tinkle, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying
not
in
last
general.
year against Gonzaga, though. Or, a couple other, and they never
this
captured
season
that
is like
for
the
consistent.
lowest that
This
it's
season's
ever
been bad.
been.
This season's been gross and
Attendance
depressing. And I don't know why any player would see that and be like, I want to be a part of this.
Or any coach. And also it's funny because like the department then is kind of using this as an excuse to point fingers. Well, like they're not saying this, but clearly, they're thinking that this is he's not drawing the fans. He's not building interest. He's not building a winner. But it's like, you're the athletic department. What do you just reign over winners and hope that like you look good, and then when you don't, you blame the losers? Like, no, you hired people, you built programs, you put people in charge of game day experience, you put people in charge of marketing.
Yeah,
like that is you. You can get people to games even if the product isn't great. Like we've had worse product, including under Tinkle, and it had better attendance.
It's had way worse.
So I know there's a bit of decay because of like, here we go again mentality. Like, why would I be supporting this? It's kind of the end of the run. But like, this falls on the athletic department. Period. One thing I was going to comment on about the coach and would you stick around here? Would you really do this? I mean, besides the support and the situation and the rev share numbers, why would you come here and expect to stick around if Scott Barnes is boiling hot? Yeah. Why would you come here and stick around when he already said he's likely not going to finish his contract, which is up in 2030? So unless it's a 3-year deal, and even then, it's a 3-year stop and that's it. Why would you come here? Until there's a new AD, like now. And
it's going to be a lot harder in the new age Pac-12 because, as we've mentioned, lots of good men's basketball schools. And that's good. The schedule's getting worse.
Yeah. Well, and I think you have to get your house in order. If we hire a men's basketball coach when Scott Barnes, or I should rephrase that, if Scott Barnes hires the men's basketball coach and signs them to anything more than like a 2 or 3 year deal, we're cooked. We're cooked. Like,
but even if he signs into a 2-year deal, they're cooked, and whatever momentum they had is cooked.
Yeah,
he already said he's not sticking out parties for more than 3.5 more years, 3.75 years. Like, he's already said he's not going to do it. So when is he gone? Is it next week? Is it tomorrow? Is it in 2030? Does it matter to you if you're a coach and you're like a mid-major and you're like, hey, this is my break. I'm an assistant, associate coach, whatever, and I'm trying to get my shot, and maybe you're thinking I'll be there for 2 years and I'm going to move on. That's my goal. Yeah. But it's always nice to know there's a safety net of if in 2 years I don't move on, at least I could keep building. But if your AD is out the door in any moment between now and 2030, and it's a given that's going to happen, why would you come and do this?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Knowledge of who the next AD is, and if they're going to want their own guys, it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That was
it's so sad. It's such
Here's my big worry, by the way, about the new pack. Yeah, and that is what I want to get at. It's a dead program right now, and it's been dead for 30 plus years, but it is extremely dead right now. And then we're going into a new conference where I always felt, at least personally, maybe it was just my own inflated ego, I don't know, but it felt like Oregon State, despite its struggles from the time I had even realized that I would want to go to Oregon State, attend Oregon State, and I graduated from Oregon State. Before, like that whole time, I felt like there was clout. People knew that AC Green went to Oregon State in the Pac-12. Other fans, the whole West Coast that was associated with those Pac-12 schools knew that Oregon State had Gary Payton, AC Green, Lester Connor. Like they could list them all off because they remembered or they grew up with it. Like I'm a USC fan, I'm a UCLA fan, but man, I remember my parents always talking about Oregon State. And so when I was starting to becoming a basketball fan, I recognized those guys when they're in the NBA or whatever. Like it could be at any point, but there was clout. Like we carried some clout because those schools and their associated fans faced us from that point through whenever. Now these, like other than Wazoo, like no one knows about our history. Like,
and it's not people's parents anymore. It's people's grandparents, right?
And they're not at, San Diego State being like, oh, I remember Oregon State was really good. We played them like a lot. Like, no. There was nothing there. You played once in maybe every 9-10 years.
Yeah.
They have no recollection. They weren't passing that down like, oh, yeah, like we're watching this game of our team versus Oregon State. They're bad right now or they're coming back. But, man, they used to be good. I remember when they were this good. Here were the players. You know their names. Like, that won't exist. And my biggest fear is it's going to get washed away.
I think
unless we stay relevant.
Right.
I don't think it already has. I think there's a chance to save it. One, relevancy would help, especially moving into the new conference, new revamped conference. Those names getting involved, which we all know they're very hesitant to dip their toes into doing,
if only someone had a plan and pitched it to an open-minded department deputy.
I think that, JP, I think your point is valid, and I think that it becomes a talking point, or there becomes some weight to that only if Oregon State can dig themselves out of this hole and be relevant again. And I think at that point, then you will have people be like, oh, they're back. Like,
or
remember back in the day.
with their history or reassociate with their history.
Yeah, that would help. But I think that, I mean, I made a point a couple episodes ago where we are as far away from Oregon State being relevant right now as what we were when we were in college and USF being relevant. Like, it has been so long. I mean, it was like the late 80s and kids in college right now
weren't even born.
Their parents were like in grade school
and those
middle school.
Those attention spans for storytelling on the days of yore are only getting shorter. They don't give a shit.
But that's it's the last thread to hang on to.
Yeah. It is the only thread to hang on to. Yeah.
So
for sure,
either we become relevant overnight, or we do our best to like hang on to some sort of clout and legacy. And we're not forgotten to be, I don't know where we're at this point, but when we were in college, we were like the 13th winningest program of all time. I think after college, you're about like the 17th or something.
We're in the probably 20s. A little further. 20s. We're in the 20s now for sure.
Okay, we're still in the 20s.
We're still in the 20s. Yeah. I'm surprised.
I guarantee you we would be one of the last schools named if somebody really could name off 20 plus of the winningest programs of all time. We would not be mentioned in this day and age because we have moved so far away from having the same success on the court. But there's one easy path again to I guess like a cheat code to getting back to at least some semblance of relevancy, and it is reassociating with that past while those players are still alive and existing and wanting to participate. I'm not going full bore like hire Gary Payton. What I'm saying is like somebody somebody has to come in here and either be directly associated with those players in that history or be Jamarcus Shepard-esque and say, this program needs you. I don't care what everything's happened before. Like, I am making this a mandate that we are built on a pillar of what you guys can provide for us as people who have played here and been successful here. Mm-hmm. And I won't accept anything less than you guys getting back involved. Like, just like Shepard did with football. Like, I don't know how well it's worked yet, but like that mentality has to exist, or else it's all eradicated. Everything's gone. We will never be a winning program again. We will never be remembered for what we had done. And all the players that were successful that brought us there will never get involved again. Never. I mean, I would just say close up shop. If we can't figure this out in the next 2 years, close it up. I don't think I've ever been that extreme about any program, but like we have fallen the furthest in this program, and we had so many easy outs, and we've dodged them all. We've dodged them all.
At this point, I think the only viable option, because the bridges have been burned to a crisp with those players that are the legends at Oregon State. You have to have an athletic director come in that's going to have a whole new fresh set of eyes on this and understand that Gil is
a fortress,
can be something that you can build around. Like, it is
you can't tear down though. You
build
around it.
Embrace the Gil dogs. Embrace the Gil beers. Dogs.
It's on campus. It's a cool old stadium. You have a ton of undergrads at that school. That's what I don't understand, is how attendance is getting worse and worse and worse.
Well, getting more and more undergrad students who have no interest in men's basketball games. Yeah.
Yeah, like, you have so much to work with, right? And I think that if you have someone that comes in that can sort of realize, like, okay, we need to start at
what do you think attendance would be like if it was Gary Payton coaching? Just a philosophical, hypothetical.
I think it would be good.
It would be insane.
I don't know if it would stay good if he wasn't a good coach.
Look at Penny Hardaway at Memphis. Like, they're having a bad season, and I know that's a completely different program, but like, they stay relevant in the college basketball zeitgeist and storytelling. Like,
Memphis has also been way more relevant than we have way more recently.
I understand that, but it's like, even hiring Penny, who didn't have a ton of head coaching experience. Penny grew up in Memphis.
Great shoes, though.
Great shoes. Great. Low Penny ad was legendary. He's probably
Low Penny ad. I forgot about that.
At the height of their fame, Penny was probably more famous than Gary Payton, even with the injuries and all. And they also hired him closer to his career ending than a hypothetical Oregon State hiring of Gary Payton would be. I see a lot of old heads talking about how, like, it would be a disaster to hire Gary Payton. Like, no, it fucking wouldn't. The disaster is now.
Look at where we're at.
The disaster is everything since Gary Payton left. Like, if anything, like, you're playing with house money if you're Oregon State men's basketball. You can do whatever you want. If it's fucking awful, and then
eternal irrelevancy is on its way, no matter what, unless we do something drastic.
You could potentially ruin Gary Payton's association with the program. JP, you were talking about this a little bit. Like, if you hire Gary Payton and it goes horribly, and after like 2 dreadful years,
he runs out of here. Association with the program,
but that
he might make this his redemption story, that he feels like he brings him back to the program.
You're talking about, hanging on to, strands of history. And I agree with you on that I don't want that to go away, especially in this new conference where there isn't history between the schools that are playing against each other. So you do run the risk of, I think, Gary Payton's legacy as a player being tarnished. It's not nothing to lose territory. But the program itself right now does have nothing to lose. So his name's getting thrown out a bunch. I think he's potentially interested. Maybe.
He's talked to Scott Barnes.
But I think
he has talked to Scott Barnes.
Here's what you do.
He is interested.
Here's what I think then.
No, that's fact.
Okay, here is what that.
And he's been coaching 3-on-3 basketball, right?
3-on-3 and like D3 and other stuff. Here's what that makes me think.
Yeah.
Men's basketball programs, women's basketball programs should have GMs. Hire Gary Payton as a GM. Now that head coaching position is more attractive.
Yeah, fair.
Right now, the head coaching position could not be less attractive.
Every game, fans are still interested, no matter what coach comes, because they're attracted to the idea that Gary Payton's the GM. I agree.
Yeah, that's what my mind thinks right away, and it could still go poorly from that too. And also, that it's not a guaranteed fix, but you're talking about trying to chart a new path forward for this program. You've got to be outside the box, and it has to be different. There isn't a hire that exists out there that's going to do better than Tinkle, that's going to do better than Robinson, that's going to do better than John. Those guys all know how to coach, and at different times did pretty damn good coaching jobs while being the head coach of this program, but none of them had the staying power necessary. This job has only gotten harder. It's always been a difficult job. Yeah. It's only gotten harder.
Yeah.
So you have to reinvent the job with the support that you get. It can't be, no matter what conference it's in, it can't be 8th in revenue share. It can't be 8th.
Yeah.
It has to be 4th or higher. And
if it's 8th in the West Coast Conference, it's definitely not going to be 4th in the new Pac-12.
No, and it was probably never above 10th in the old Pac-12.
Yeah, it wasn't above 10th in the Pac-10 and wasn't above 12th in the Pac-12.
Maybe there are some years it was above Wazoo. You got to do something, and I know that is a sentence that doesn't mean anything, and I apologize for saying. But I'm not mad about this being the year that they move on from Tinkle. I think we do need to mention, when these things happen, it's not just the one head coach who gets removed. It's the entire staff who gets removed, and there'll be people who are displaced. I really like this staff. Obviously, Coach Bubba, Coach Marlon Stewart, who we've gotten to know, his mom, Marla, who is a listener of the show and an incredible fan. I'm devastated for them. Roberto Nelson, Oregon State great in his own right, who has done an incredible job. Has been great to us and others as well. So like a lot of people are affected by these decisions, and I don't want us to just gloss over them.
Roberto was the figurehead of getting the alumni back involved, which
of course
is now feels like we just cut the head of the snake off. Like it's gonna be hard to get them back involved.
Unless he was the highest recruit that we've had since like 2000, right? I think he's the highest recruit that we've had since 2000.
He was up there. Yeah. Up there. And we should have Berto back on the pod if he's willing. I'm sure he would be, to talk about at least some of this. But that's another name too that I'd be totally on board with giving Berto a shot, because it's a job that I would advise anyone to steer clear of. Probably even Berto, because I want good things for him.
Unless you know the situation.
But if you know the situation, you can navigate it differently. And that is something where Berto has shown a level of, like, he's been industrious in a way in which he's gone about trying to activate alumni. It's not just an X's and O's thing. And we had him on before that game against Arizona a couple seasons ago. It was coming off of a bad loss. And he told all these different, it was a fascinating conversation. And he was like, he's like, I can tell you this right now after practice today, like, we're going to play in this game. Like we're not going to guarantee a victory or anything against a really good Arizona team, but like, we're going to show up and no one's going to be disappointed.
I'm advocating
they beat Arizona. And it's like, you're in this position where you're not an attractive job. You're not a destination. You don't have money comparatively to anyone else.
So you have to lean on relationships, which is a common theme of the sources I've talked to within within the athletic.
I'd be down
within the men's basketball program that have said authentic relationships are critical. I even had some players say the relationships I have at Oregon State are actually more important than anything about NIL.
Interesting.
So you want to go hire an outsider that's done a great job elsewhere, that has no home. They're a migrant worker in a way. And what? They're going to sell Oregon State, the struggle, the historic past, the potential promise of more. Like, no one's buying that bullshit. Like, no one's buying that shit.
The last thing that we need is having a coach that has found success at another school come to Oregon State. And I should put a caveat to that. If you find success, chances are you're not in the bottom rung of your conference in terms of rev share, right? What I guess I'm trying to say is, if you have a coach that is used to having more than their opponents, more resources, more money, and they come to Oregon State,
even if that came from you winning and building, you're already used to it.
I saw some guy in Bill Oram, I think it was Bill Oram's article about just like hypothetical potential candidates. And I'm blanking on the name, but it was the coach who coached for Utah for a number of years. Didn't do super well. Ended up getting fired. I think his record was like 68-68, like the definition of mediocre. And it's like, that is the dude who would be the worst for this program. Being mediocre at a school where you have way more resources, and then coming to Oregon State and expecting them to be successful.
Yeah.
With like almost no resources.
Or you're an associate head coach or assistant head coach somewhere else, and you come to Oregon State with no ties, but you've seen how it works, and you go, damn, if I could just pull off a couple, winners over the next 3 seasons, I'm going to get a better gig.
But even them, like if they're
school.
For sure, but even them, if they're used to being on a coaching staff where a lot of their success,
their head coaches, man, they have egos. They're like, I can do this. Sure. This is a challenge. I got it
for sure. But I don't think that they would be successful at all.
Can we play? If we're gonna play fantasy basketball with coaching hire, I think the name that would at least get me out of my seat a little bit, this was in Canzano's article, would be Tom Crean, who has been out of coaching for a couple seasons. Our boy Aaron Stevens, Indiana Hoosier, can talk to you about Tom Crean. He worked wonders at Marquette, obviously had some great years at Indiana, Georgia, less so. Yeah, absolutely. Those jobs, I don't know what he was doing before Marquette. I haven't done the Tom Crean deep dive. I apologize. But he has been far removed.
Michigan State assistant, Pittsburgh assistant, Western Kentucky assistant.
Okay,
Michigan
so
State grad assistant and Alma assistant.
So yeah,
Mater.
So not a lot of, hey, everyone else in the conference has more resources than you do. Figure it out. Marquette, Indiana basketball schools.
Also, he has family ties to Oregon State.
So yeah, I would be like, okay, this is a name.
Was that mentioned in the article?
Kind of. I don't think so, but it's worth a conversation for sure.
Crean has family ties to Oregon State. He's married to a Harbaugh.
I'd hire Jay Harbaugh to run the men's basketball program. Super Bowl ring. Come on. We're thinking outside the box here, guys.
I'm pretty sure he's married to like Jim and John's.
Okay. So Jay's aunt.
And then
or mom.
Jim's. So that's Jay. Yeah, that is Jay Harbaugh's aunt.
All right. So he knows Jay. He knows
Crean.
Jay is essentially what we're at.
It's his uncle.
All right. Perfect.
I want.
You heard it here.
The more I think about it, I want GP, man. I want GP. He would come in. He knows what's going on with the program. He has not had coaching experience at anywhere close to D1 level, and it would just be it would be so awesome to watch him try to figure this program out, because I think it's going to be someone like GP that doesn't have a ton of experience, has no experience trying to figure this out, rather than having someone who knows what a program should look like.
What about
trying to figure this program out?
If someone like GP figuring this program out and being very, very public about his thoughts about how things are running.
Which is why Scott Barnes won't hire him.
No.
I think that is a massively critical factor for Oregon State is accountability.
Yeah.
And somebody who will come in and say, I have nothing to lose but to just rip everything that's wrong with this place.
GP for AD, man.
The authenticity might sell
Let him run it.
in recruiting for other assistants, for a GM. I think his authenticity would play very well.
I do too.
It's worth it for the
too.
fireworks. Like, it honestly is. And I understand the hesitancy, or at least the logic behind the hesitancy, but like, what are we protecting by not making it? But Barnes also isn't going to make that hire, so it's also weird.
A corpse of a program.
Murphy just needs to fire Barnes yesterday so we can move on. And then, like, I'd be fine with that. We still need to talk to this, and we're over an hour in already. Whatever. We can shift our focus a little bit towards the Barnes is an imposing figure. He's I was going to say the big man in the room, and he is a big man casting a fairly large shadow right now over the department and all of these files that we, mainly JP, who I'd say deserves all the credit in the world for obtaining and curating, and also releasing.
It's our joint pursuit. Whatever joint is for three people. Joints pursuit.
So it's the first week that we actually got, I'd say, meaningful batches of information that tell a story and actually share information. I'd say it's the first time we've gotten anything from this public records request that you made for the first time in October, I believe, or September was the first.
Late September 29th. Or September 29th.
It was
29th. There's
like
right
anniversary
dates in here that's worth sharing.
Sportico's first request was published in August, and ours was shortly after Sportico's request.
No, Sportico's came in September 14th. Their article came out September. Daniel Libet, shout out Daniel. His article came out September 30th. Our request went in September 29th, like 10 p.m. Right. And then Benny followed up on September 30th. Did you get this email? And that's what I knew.
That was my one piece.
If Betty's emailing, you know shit's hitting the fan.
Please advise. Please advise.
Per my last email.
So these files, they're heavily redacted. There are some interesting tidbits in there. There's a scathing and also a very well written email from Kyle Bjornstad to Scott Barnes in there.
It is, yeah.
When kind of this blueprint stuff is starting to hit the fan, and also paints a picture that this was all worse than we initially thought, that this didn't turn out to be a nothing burger at all. A lot of mismanagement, a lot of dysfunction. Still a lot of confusion as to why Blueprint was ever identified to be
and defended
without any other company being put forward to Kyle. And when Kyle brought another company and an offer, Lockerverse was dismissed in a single line almost immediately. I think Kyle never being presented the figures of the Blueprint deal that we all eventually got eyes on is one of the more damning elements to it. But what it shows is a department in turmoil, a department that doesn't know a goddamn thing about what it's doing. And yes, an entity that you can't for the life of me. And this is someone who wants to believe in the future of Oregon State football and Jamarcus Shepard, but an entity that I don't trust to make any decision. Far from making imperative hires that could chart the course of the next decade of success for programs that I care deeply about. Scott Barnes is behind it all. And this also, we were putting together at the time when this very kind of awkward handling of Wayne Tinkle's post as the head coach of Oregon State men's basketball was coming about, and him just looking as sad as he possibly could while one of his student athletes hit a three to help them win the game directly in front of him. It's a weird time. right now. And it doesn't seem like Scott Barnes is long for this world. And I think this move needs to happen yesterday. But that's one.
Let's clarify that long for this world doesn't mean we're putting a hit on Scott Barnes. We're talking about the Oregon State world.
I appreciate that. Thanks for bringing it up. Scott Barnes is not long for this world as the athletic director of Oregon State University.
Thank you. I'm not trying to get in legal hot water, as close as I'm tiptoeing it at this moment. So
you don't need another Austin situation, Terry.
Oh, no. We don't need to be nearly sued for using the word belligerent.
I thought we weren't going to talk about the Austin situation ever.
Oh, well, now
you
we
got
are.
Cincinnati on it.
It's beyond the statute of limitations.
Anyway,
yeah. Well, to talk about a little bit about the file. So on our site, of course, if you go to belligerentbeefs.com/the dive, like a dive bar, the dive, and it's always a good deep dive. Anything you read, whether it's
to dive on it.
Terry, myself, our former but maybe still current unpaid intern Andy Lassell, and other contributors. Either way, he's still on payroll, so he did great work.
He's like Brent Blaylock.
But we do have now the Barnes files, and it is an updated timeline that is going to get more information this weekend, because on March 6th we're getting our batch 5, I think is the count.
But really 4?
Batch 5, but really
4.
But kind of 3.
But really 4. But also kind of 5, because shout out listener Bodie, not Bodie, but Bodie, who had their own request in and did provide their files. It actually shed light on a few things, and those are cited in the timeline.
Bodie's a professional lawyer too.
He is an attorney. Yeah, yes.
One of many acting attorneys that we have within our network.
That love our show.
So any of you who want to talk any shit, just know
we'll sue you. No,
we're lawyered.
Wait, was the guy who called us
pro bono?
One high level thing that I thought was hilarious was he had a lot of. I mean, I'm in the same boat, but like same boat, Bodie. But anyways, he has a lot of repetitive records, right, from the request. Whatever his request was, it's produced a lot of redundant and repetitive records. And as I sifted through them, I realized something that is kind of hilarious, and it is that Oregon State was redacting statements or details irregularly between every single redundancy. So there were some emails that had like a whole sentence redacted, and then there was the same repetitive email in another record that had to have partial redacted, and then another one in another email that had the other part redacted, and it was like, so now I have the whole sentence that you redacted in one of your records, and then partially redacted in 2 other ones.
Do you guys think that redactions are just way harder than what we think they are? Because there's been a lot of news of redactions over the last couple months, and none of them have been good.
No. You're giving people the benefit of the doubt who do not deserve the benefit of the doubt.
That is true.
They're pretty easy to do well. You just click and drag over things and hit redact in any PDF editor viewer worth its weight. But here's where I think this one to me was pieced together by piecing together information I had that was partially redacted, and then information that Bodie provided that was not redacted. And then he also had a couple extra emails that add a little bit more color to it. And it was essentially that Oregon State one was like totally in bed with Blueprint from the jump without due diligence. I think my favorite part of it was beyond the whole, like, I'm sharing this internally, which we have records of Brent Blaylock sharing it internally and others saying these look good or this, like, whatever, like corroborating the whole, like, offer or recommendation as it was put by Blueprint. It was that after all of that, there were 2 emails that Bodie provided. One was Brent Blaylock emailing Rob Sine asking if the revenue figures or the revenue cut was from net or gross, or maybe just the overall revenue. So he didn't even know if this was net or gross revenue. And yet he was already circulating this internally as the right fit and couldn't even answer a very, very, very basic question.
And very important question.
And a very important question. And then it was like 2 weeks after that, he says something like, I'm gonna reach out and ask them about like their business plan or something. And this was like 4 weeks after it's circulating, maybe 3 weeks after it's circulating internally. And him saying like, is this a gross or net revenue? Can you clarify? God. And then, he was like, I'll ask them about their business plan. And when I hear back, I'll let everyone know. And it was like, so it was April 2nd that Brent Blaylock messaged Scott Barnes over SMS. We have that record. It's in the timeline. He reached out to him directly, presumably one of the first or a couple of first that he reached out to. There are no records that indicate that they had reached out to any other vendor, because we didn't just search Blaylock and Blueprint. We searched NIL, like any sort of related broader terms. And the earliest indication was April 2nd. Brent Blaylock messaged Rob Sine, told him it's been a long time. And it's me, Brent Blaylock from Arizona, and now I'm at Oregon State. Anyways, did not seem like a, inquiry. It seemed like a, hey, I know you a little bit, but now it's been a while kind of message. If I had to have my own inference on the tone and the timing, because this was 3 days after Kyle Bjornstad had told Oregon State that he was planning to shut down Damnation in July. So 3 days later, his first instinct message, Blueprint. Then he starts circulating Blueprint's recommendation, which came 2 weeks later on like April 14th or 16th. And so, April 17th, he was sharing the proposal internally, already commenting on things that they were asking for, like access to charter flights. Blueprint wanted access to charter flights for every away game.
What?
They wanted, they're trying to get Damnation membership data. There were some ridiculous requests that I thought was pretty funny. Some of it was just overall ridiculous. They wanted like 12 or something sideline passes for every home and road and neutral site football game. They requested, I guess, this is hilarious. They requested tickets to every game in the following locations. Oh, and parking. They wanted parking for Beaver baseball games, which there's really none. But no, if you're laughing at that, if you want to talk about due diligence either direction, this is why it feels like something was rushed to get into bed with Blueprint, because then Blueprint asked for a permanent suite at Gill Coliseum.
Yes, you got it. Say yes. Just tell him it's there.
Yeah. Go find it. Yeah, walk around. Go down the hallway. Go up these stairwells.
The suite is the whole Coliseum. We're all in one big asbestos-filled suite together, and that's what builds community. Welcome to our suite.
What's the program that's based out of Gill, but is on like the second level of Gill, and you have to go by the concessions, around the corner, down the hallway, and it's in that. Okay, it is golf.
Yeah, golf's at the little training. Yeah,
that's right.
Oh, I feel bad not remembering his name. Bud, what's his name? Bud. He was the big golf donor. He had the tournament named after him at Twisting Tree. We talked about it like 200 episodes ago, and he passed away. But rest in peace,
Bud Ossie.
Bud Ossie.
Yeah. And he donated.
Granddaughter went to
him and his wife, I believe, donated the money to like tear out whatever the hell storage room that was.
It was a suite.
It was a suite.
Blueprint.
It was a suite. Blueprint
Blueprint.
Yeah.
We
How
can
dare
keep
you
you.
come at butt
There's
honesty
a
that way.
really secure spot where we've been keeping Bernice for the last 65 years. You guys can watch the games from. I'm in there. It's a hatch.
Yeah,
We definitely won't lock
we
the
have it
door behind
Have
us.
you seen Lost season 2? It's the same thing.
Yeah. Anyways, also let's just go run through the timeline real quick. So also what made it pretty clear in this timeline, if you haven't noticed, and I did try to call it out pretty deliberately, was that Oregon State agreed to and defended and advocated for a deal with Blueprint Sports where we would pay Blueprint Sports an average of like $285,000 a year for them to produce $750,000 a year before they took any money back, even though we paid them $285,000 a year. And then they wanted 75% of the next $400K, $399,000. And then they wanted 50% everything thereafter. And any model you put that through, it's 50-50 as far as it goes. And it just continues to meet in the middle, even if it's percentage points away. The whole idea was a 50-50 split. And if you actually, there was some language in some earlier contracts that was very simple, and it was a 50-50 split. And there was no threshold. It was 50-50. And then the threshold was added. And essentially, the goal was to present a 50-50 split in a way that made the public narrative look better.
Right. Yeah, so they just muddied the waters.
Right.
Yes. And that's what they did with the whole, they made it confusing. That's the whole thing they did, again, with defending how that split and the rake and everything worked. And it was 100% was still going to go to student athletes. There was language, and I could see where Brent got this statement about, well, we're just going to upcharge the businesses. If they want to make, a $1,000 NIL donation, we're going to charge them, the upcharge. And then that's what's going to be Blueprint's rake. And the rest is still going to go to the student athlete. That came from Rob Sign. That was Rob Sign's explanation about how much is going to go to the student athlete. And Brent didn't push back. He just bought it. And he just said, okay, cool. And then not only he didn't say that really in the email. It was just like, can you clarify these points? And then in line, it was responded to by Rob Sign. And he, I don't know what he said afterwards, probably nothing. But then he went on every sort of media tour stop he could make besides ours. Brent,
besides
come on the pod.
Could have saved you.
Could have saved you, man. Well, he's still saved. He's still there.
He's still on the payroll.
That's true.
Still
I want to be on my company.
But then he just, regurgitated the same sentiment every stop he made. Oh, we're just going to upcharge the businesses. Like any business is going to be like, no, I want to make $1,000 donation.
Right.
Like that's the number.
If I had said 1,200, I would have said 1,200.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't say 1,200 to give $1,000 to Michael
Malik Murphy. You give $1,000 to Malik Murphy and $200 to this company you've never heard of. But trust me.
Yeah. And that's the charge. Otherwise, walk away. What are you going to really do with that in that position? Whereas Lockerverse said, we will keep up to 280.
And that's it.
And that's it. And then then it's 75%.
Lockerverse was like, we're here to
party.
And that's
it. That's it. So either Scott Barnes did not know the real terms. He did not understand the real terms that he was defending, or he was in bed with the real terms that he was defending. Either way, there's no other explanation. He didn't know, bad. He didn't understand, probably worse. And
he fully understood.
He did know and fully understood and still defended.
And that's the worst.
That's the worst. And that's what he did. That's what he did. And you have to assume, as the athletic director, he was fully aware of what he was writing back to say this doesn't come close to the deal we have with Blueprint, right? Like, he has to know to say that.
Right.
And maybe
I do think Lockerverse wasn't Lockerverse like 75-25 after that 288 mark?
Yeah, but still.
Okay. Yeah.
Not 50-50 after 1.15 million.
Yeah, it was very cut and dry.
And essentially 50-50 for the first 1.15 million because the recoup rake that they get for the 300,000. Anyways, or 400,000. This part is the part that was new to me as well, and maybe new to you guys, was the whole conversation around the negotiation of the sale of Damnation.
Yes.
So if you put yourself in Kyle's shoes, I guess, and I did as I was reading this, he was told, wait, don't close it. We'll bring you buyers. Okay. We brought you one buyer. Okay. This is the only one. Here's their offer.
Bad.
It's bad. And then you go, I would rather just shut it down than sell it.
So stupid. I'm so sorry.
And then they say, find a better offer. He finds a better offer. And while he's pursuing this better offer, Brent Blaylock texts Rob Sign or somebody at Blueprint and says that Kyle has a legitimate threat.
Yeah, that's
like you're already.
That's what's in there. His words, not ours.
Together. You're working together. You've already aligned clearly, and you call it a threat, a better offer, a threat. And that better offer led to negotiations, multiple emails exchanged, including Scott Barnes signing off on it and saying, this makes sense to me or looks good to me, whatever, given the circumstances. Not quoting this, a paraphrase legally. I'm off the hook. I didn't say, quote, verbatim. But they raised the management fee. Remember when we talked about why is the management fee not like an escalator? Why does it go like up a little bit, and then down even a little bit after that? Like it's like a mountain peak over those 3 years. And that was raised because Brent Blaylock told Rob Sign that we could work with them on the management fee in order to help them with the costs of whatever Kyle would ask for or was asking for at that moment. Essentially, he's saying, yeah, we'll take donor money and pay you more to buy Damnation so that it doesn't go to Lockerverse. Like, where is that ethical in any realm of reality? And then yet, thereafter, Barnes says, this is reasonable given the circumstances and signs off on the increased management fee that was only in place to help the offer to Kyle so that he didn't take the Lockerverse deal. And upping the offer with donor money, rev share money, NIL money, however you want to put it. It was not coming from the Oregon State institutional budget.
Yeah, it definitely makes you think that there was, like you said, something funny going on where kickbacks or I don't know what, but yeah, something funny for sure.
Well, it's suspicious and opens up any realm of suspicion. Absolutely. Because nothing's been addressed about it other than denials, which I can get to in a second. But yet they still were clearly anchored to Blueprint no matter what. And it wasn't just hey, Rob, Kyle got a better deal. And we trust his intuition because he built Damnation. We don't know what we're doing. And so we're going to trust that he's going to make the best choices for Oregon State and Oregon State athletes and Oregon State fans. Financially, this deal's better. And then, ethically, it feels better because the dude selling the business that he built wants it. We're out, or match it and we can talk. Yet they just flat out denied Kyle without letting him ever see the details of the offer from Blueprint. So what do you think Kyle felt? Again, putting yourselves in his shoes like I did, reading all this, he must have thought the athletic department has to have the best interest of Oregon State and its student athletes top of mind, right? When they say this doesn't come close to the deal that we have with Blueprint, he must have been like, well, shit, okay. Well, if you have a better deal, then let's keep going. And again, he's been quoted like he did not see the terms of the deal until it came out in Sportico. The part where it gets even more damning, I think, is, maybe just doubles down, is just when Sportico, with Daniel Libbett's Sportico article dropped on September 30th, There's an October 1st. This part's also funny. Shout out to the redaction team at Oregon State Public Records. I'm sure I'm going to get a record now, or many of them that are just black boxes with this statement.
Here's a black PDF. Enjoy.
Yeah, there was a few of those in Bodie's. October 1st, Barnes texted Blaylock, but what I had was only Blaylock's text messages with a redacted sender. And then what Bodie had was Barnes's messages with a redacted recipient. And guess what? Same timestamp, same text. And guess who put it together? Me. Hearing that we're getting hit for blueprint agreement that is now out there via FOIA is Barnes texting Blaylock on October 1st. That same evening, he texted somebody else and said, we just met on strategy to attack the misinformation with a space and no hyphen and not one word. I don't know which one's right, but either way,
he has so many weird
information
spaces
out there. He does. He's a boomer. No offense to the boomers listeners, but
I don't have time to read the grievances, but the English teacher in me is just dying inside.
It sounds like we need to get to Orem sick because he spelled it with E. And then as well, Daschle is someone we trust to put the correct information out there. Bill Orem published the article, I think the next day, with a deep dive, or maybe that day, October 1st, on the details of the contract. Nick Daschle, sports editor for the Oregonian, obviously oversees all of this. And then the next day, Orem interviewed Rob Sine, and then it wasn't a couple of days after that, I think, that he also put out another article that was kind of walking back. See, everything's fine. Also, Blaylock had a text sent to him that was, how fast can you get rid of blueprint on background? I think we talked about that on the show last week.
Which
I don't know what on background means.
A text that you totally get when things are going normal and fine. Is how quick can you get rid of this on background?
So also, I never said this was off the record, and maybe it's just good fodder for as we wrap up the show. I did message Nick Daschle. Nick, love you. Anyways, messaged him, and I said about that quote again, that Daschle is someone we trust to put out or to put the correct information out there, end quote. That was Scott Barnes to somebody. And I said, Nick, this makes you sound like a propagandist. I am saddened. And I said, this was sent by Scott Barnes, 10/1/2025. And he said, I sent it the screenshot. He said, or it could be, I'm a journalist who doesn't make stuff up. And I said, or one who they know won't report about them in a negative light, as a question. And I said, also, just to confirm, you're not insinuating that I've made anything up about all of this, right? And his response was, just like you're not insinuating that I'm a propagandist, right?
Most Daschle response.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Ever. Anyways, Nick, if you're listening, which you probably are, I did say to you that all I said was the text saddens me, and I don't like what it's alluding to. And I asked, have I been wrong yet? Have I put out any misinformation? And then I said, and this is just for Nick or the Oregonian, but for everybody. And I think that this is one of those like PSA, like stare in the camera messages, because I think they all need to hear this. Every media covering Oregon State needs to listen right now to this message. And I'm sure they're listening an hour and 40 minutes into the show.
I looked at the timestamp right when you started saying that.
But I'm gonna look as close to the screen as I can without having to read it. And I said, quite frankly, I'm extremely curious why this isn't all being covered by the Oregonian or the Bald-Faced Truth, which it is a little bit, or any other media publication that covers Oregon State athletics, because no one can hide from a paper trail. And of all people I know, you sports reporters are the most likely to agree with that statement. So do something and make some noise about this, because it is not just small-time fodder for a bro podcast with our Cheetos and Mountain Dews. It is
never had Cheetos on this show.
I probably have.
Benny did, probably. And he definitely had a Mountain Dew.
Okay, Benny had both of those. All right, never mind. I said correctly.
So,
blah, blah.
If you're not covering this, then you're behind. And if you want to cover it with us, I will share everything and anything that we have. It is important beyond just trying to get somebody fired or having a vendetta or anything. This is like an institution that needs help, and the media needs to help it. Period.
I'm still just curious, too, why the Blueprint deal was accepted. Like, I want to know, just being the nosy fuck that I am.
It was accepted before any due diligence was done. I mean, draw your own conclusions, I guess.
I know, but
I texted a guy.
I want to know.
He had his number?
Yeah.
He had his number?
But I want to know the nefarious conclusions that I'm getting in my head. You know, I want to know how close they really are. Because people don't just do blindly dumb shit for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And people will go a long way to cover up neglect. There was
firing a basketball coach, firing a football coach, firing your deputy athletic director.
I don't know how much
your
neglect
director of compliance.
This Blueprint deal, there are a lot of off ramps for them, like lots, to get away from this. Before the Sportico article, before this public blowback, and even during the public blowback, to get out of it without creating more. And they blew by every single off ramp, every single one.
And not only is Blueprint still paid, but so is Brent Blaylock.
No, exactly. While we were talking about this, I pulled up Blueprint's website just kind of out of curiosity. Of course, no universities are listed anymore. The
only depicted one is Maryland.
Yeah,
Lane Warner is gone.
Lane Warner is gone. A lot of people are. This staff is down to 7. There's 7 people, and I don't know all of the names that were on that page, but it was a pretty big page. There are photos. There's a North Carolina State athlete, and there's a photo of a Penn State game in here, and also a Maryland women's basketball game, as well as a Maryland football game. But no logos. They have a press section too. The last.
Oh, what's weird is I looked last week. There were 8 employees in the About Us or Who We Are or whatever.
That's
our
7
team.
now.
Yeah.
In the press section, the last piece of press that is linked to on their site is from July 22nd, 2025.
Yeah,
that was a press release that's marked October 28th, 2025, and also July 22nd, 2025. Maybe they need an editor just as much as Scott Barnes's text messages need an editor as well. Maybe Scott Barnes should use AI. And
also, Blueprint is no longer, at least that I could find, and I searched to make sure I wasn't blocked or we weren't blocked. They're no longer on Twitter. I don't know what social media presence they have. And Lane Warner doesn't exist. She's not on LinkedIn.
Maybe she never existed.
What she was. Maybe she never existed.
It's like Randall Stevens,
but she's also no longer with Blueprint. I mean, there is.
What if they fully made a person up?
Shit.
That's actually. Hey, we're almost on hour 2, and I'm on beer number 2 of this podcast. But if they just made someone up to help facilitate, I'm still mad. But I'm a little bit more fascinated and interested.
Is Lane Warner real? I gotta figure this out now, dude. I'm going
remember
deep into
when the Corvallis Police Department made a woman up and gave her a Facebook page? Her name was
Lane Warner had jobs before Blueprint. She was at Drexel,
which exactly is what you'd put in a LinkedIn profile of someone you're making up, JP. Like when the Corvallis Police Department made up Susan Morgan, and she had a major, she had a hometown, she had all this stuff, and they were using Susan Morgan's Facebook page to figure out where underage Oregon State students were drinking.
Oh, yes.
To go bust them.
I forgot about that.
We were all friends with Susan Morgan and then fed the Corvallis Police Department fake information about parties that didn't exist for like a whole year.
By the way, even Lane Warner has a general sales manager page for LSU, and it has no bio. It's like gone. It's title, email, phone, which phone is interesting.
There's no social media for Blueprint listed on their website anymore.
And there's no social media for Lane Warner. She's gone. She's just erased.
Fuck. She wasn't real.
This is how mystery novels start.
This is how our mystery episodes start.
This is how athletic departments come to an end.
This is a double header episode. Welcome to episode 203.
When we started the Bernice stuff, we really should have just pivoted into like dumb true crime full time, and we'd be millionaires.
That was important true crime.
We'd be fucking millionaires at this point. We brought Bernice back, and we just kept talking about Oregon State sports. We should have known where our calling was at that point.
We had it. What's it, like a bird in the hand? Is that the phrase?
Canary in the coal mine.
Yeah, that's really what we have. That's who we are. We're canaries in the coal mines. Also, Nick Dasso can report about our deaths in the Oregonian.
From all that black lung from being canaries in the coal mine.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
black
like
and orange
Zoolander.
lung.
Black and orange lung. Well, I can see us fading pretty quickly after that. So I think JP putting a bow on that segment really nicely is the perfect way to wrap up this episode 202. Halfway to 404, forbidden, not found. Once we get there, we'll be forbidden from podcasting again. I'm calling it if we get there, which we will. Because no one will have a problem with any of this, as it's all public record. It's all there. That man, that beautiful man, yawning his ass off in his Air Jordan OAR POD collab gear, Benjamin Lawrence, Sebastian Wehage, a.k.a. Benny with the good quaff. Very nice quaff tonight, too, if I must say.
Thank you.
Thank you. Benny bowl game, maybe in 2026, but probably not. Benny Burner, Benny Blastoff, Benny Bedlam, because he's fucking crazy, folks. And at Benny L 1986 across social media channels. He is one of my two best fucking friends, because I realized I didn't say that before introducing you, Benny, and I'm sorry. The other one, of course, being JP Bertram, the man behind the Barnes files and all the public records requests, and keeping the ship steered in the right direction and on all the ones and twos, making sure we sound good, making sure we sound tight. JP Bertram at the Trill J on Twitter. That's at the _Trill_J, because he's too trill to be real, and at JP Bertram on Instagram, baby. I am Terry Horseman at Terry Horseman on Twitter, though I did delete Twitter from my phone recently, so I'm probably not hanging out with you on Twitter. You can find me on Blue Sky, though, and many other places, including at Terrence Horseman on Instagram.com. Hit me up with your Bridgerton hot takes. We got a new batch of episodes, and I'm feeling, I'd have you.
You're a big Bridgerton fan.
I am a big Bridgerton fan. I fucking love Bridgerton. Love a lot of shows, but Bridgerton right now, it's up there. You gotta have many interests, right? We're complex beings, humans.
Yeah. I'm learning more about
at
you,
Terry Horseman pretty much everywhere else. Follow us as a show, for gosh darn sakes, at Bellig Beavs on Twitter, at Belligerent Beavs everywhere else. That means Instagram. That means Blue Sky. That means Facebook. That means YouTube. That means TikTok. That means
Red Note.
Open source NIL market. Not on the Blueprint.
Open
sports.
Doors.
Open Doors, whatever.
We are on Open Doors.
We're on Open Doors. Red Note, Blue Sky, One Fish, Two Fish, Dr. Seuss app. bookshop.org. We're on Audible. Listen to our episodes on Audible. Download the transcripts and get some fresh merch. belligerentbeavs.com, belligerentbeavs.com/merch. Subscribe on YouTube. Like and subscribe everywhere. Give us a 5-star review. We got a great 3-star review recently by a dude who said, literally, I don't have it right up in front of me, but it's like literally the best Beaver podcast. But 3 stars.
3 stars.
But minus 2 stars for defending Tinkle and talking over each other all the time. And I read it and I thought about it.
Nodded.
I said, yeah, all right. That seems fair enough. We can't defend Tinkle anymore, though, after a short time, because he will not be here to defend. So whoever wrote that review, I'll give you a shout out in the next episode, I promise. But maybe restore one of those stars.
Tight PNW.
Tight PNW. Give us 4 stars.
That is a
Tinkle's
great
it's
name.
It's a great review.
That is a great
I like
name.
that 3-star review more than any 5-star review we've ever gotten. It
Come
really
on,
made me
give
laugh.
us a 4 stars. We're working on you.
We're working.
Dude,
We're working
hold on real quick.
Almost 2 hours.
I was cleaning my basement as part of the remodel project, and I found what you had sent us, JP, that screenshot framed of the guy who called us Beavis and Butthead. What do you call us? I forget
Dumb and Dumber and Beavis and Butthead.
Dumb and Dumber and Beavis
Solve
and Butthead.
realignment, but not much.
It was
But
all
not
dusty
really.
on the top. Yeah, it was.
That
it was
guy
a great
hated
time.
us, and then at the end of it was just like, actually kind of entertaining. I think I'll listen to more episodes.
It was
Yeah.
so many emotions in one tweet. It was great.
But you also had like 11 comments on one video.
That's right.
It was like, whoa, what's going on with this video? We just posted it. There's 13 comments, and it's all by one guy. Lawyer Malloy. But not that lawyer. Not that lawyer Malloy.
Charles Malloy.
Charles Malloy, who is a lawyer, not Lawyer Malloy, the football player. But either one of you can come on the pod. Dude, if we got Lawyer Malloy on the pod, hell yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm gonna get a Lawyer Malloy jersey.
You should get a Lawyer Malloy jersey. Get what the 90s Patriots
And put
jerseys
Charles
were so
on the
sick.
back.
And put Charles.
I had
on
a
the
Terry
back.
Glenn jersey when I was a kid because his name was Terry.
Terry
It was
Glenn.
so sick.
But it said Glenn.
It said Glenn.
Like the
I know,
guy who
but
got
so-
killed in. What is that show? What was the zombie show?
Walking Dead.
Walking Dead.
I don't know, but Glenn was also Tom Green's sidekick.
Spoiler alert.
You guys remember that?
Was it before when the Patriots had that royal blue before going to navy blue? Those jerseys were so dope. God, I love these jerseys.
They were shimmery.
They were shimmery.
And they had sublimated lines and stars and things.
Yeah, the lines is what I like. The lines even showed up on the replica jersey that you could buy at Foot Locker, which is where I definitely got the kids' Foot Locker at the Southdale
Foot
Mall.
Locker was dope too.
Dude, I miss it. I think there still are Foot Lockers, but it's not the same. Anyway,
There are. I went to one like 6 months ago. It was fun.
Do the employees still wear referee shirts?
I don't remember.
Probably.
So probably not.
All right, let's get out of here. Thank you for listening to this episode.
Yo, let's get outta here. Word to your mother.
Beavs. And remember, no matter what any public records say, no matter what any dumbass deputies try to take away, or anything else, no matter what they do, they quantifiably cannot spell ChopEm without hope. So, ChopEm.
ChopEm.
Thank you, Wayne. ChopEm.
Beavs back. Abolish ICE, baby.
Fire Barns.